Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading session. Is it just me, or do holiday weeks, short weeks, they're supposed to be short, but don't they always seem long? Today seems like Friday to me. One more trading day besides today. Alrighty, so we just had the markets open up, and a fairly soft open relative to where we've been. In fact, I think we're opening at more or less the same price that we opened yesterday, down here around the 45.08, 45.10 area. Yesterday was a bit of a chop fest. The markets opened, put in a little bit of a rally, and then just kind of kept going sideways. I'm a little bearish on the market today. This is the NQ, and just a moment here while I build you a NQ chart. If we take a look at the daily NASDAQ, I think you'll see something interesting if we shoot a trend line across the highs here. It's, we're right into some trend line resistance. So that's probably why the market's a little bit staggered. You got a lot of active selling. You can be sure there's going to be a lot of sellers who see the same thing, and buyers for that matter. Buyers that bought the market all through here are all of a sudden looking at it and saying, well, this might be a good spot to take some profit. And of course, the sellers are getting just as active. So there we go. So this is why I'm thinking the market's going to be a little bit more bearish today. And we're actually getting an eagle signal. I see I missed the signal on the Raptor, but we can take this eagle signal and see if we get some follow through. We did get a macro pullback signal here just out of the open, and the Raptor is also producing a sell signal. Our cloud crossover occurred right here. Oops, sorry. I clicked the wrong button. All right, so we're short. Actually, I'll go back here to the eagle. Excuse me for just a second, folks, here. I've got to deal with something here real quick. Let's just get that out of your way. Okay, so you could have actually used a second push strategy on this entry as well. And what the second push does is it simply allows the market to engage the signal and then retreat from the signal. So we're just looking for the market to trade a little bit higher, and then we enter our signal below the low. So it looks like we would have been filled here regardless. All right, sorry about that. I had somebody Skyping me in a panic about a trade, so I just had to deal with that. So just looking for the sellers to continue here. And we're getting a little bit of support now. I do believe that's near yesterday's low. Actually, before we leave the Eagle chart altogether, I'm going to shoot a line here across the low. And sure enough, this is very close to where the market bottomed out yesterday. So that's why we're seeing prices stagger just a little. And if the buyers don't take steps to recover this soon, I'm going to get a lot more aggressive with my stops. Or sorry, did I say buyers? I meant sellers. Not liking the hawk going into yellow bars. We're still kind of neutral for the most part. Getting an opportunity here maybe on crude oil. This is crude oil on the hawk. Very, very strong downtrend here in crude. We're working on a green bar sell signal, which I would probably look to buy the failure of. So if this signal prints, which right now it doesn't look like it's going to, you could set up to buy above the high of the signal. Now we don't have it yet, we only have a warning dot. Or you could simply hold out for the first micro-macro cross signal when it develops. The problem with this trade is going to be covering it deep enough. Ideally, you want to cover below the lows, but because this is crude oil, it's going to be very difficult to try to structure a trade that way. Good morning, Jim. Jim shooting me some advanced decline numbers. We got just over 800 on the buy, 1700 on the sell. There is a little bit of an opening gap though, so those numbers are going to be a little skewed, but good to know anyhow. All right, I thought this crude signal may develop a little bit faster than it is. Right now it's just kind of stalling. Jim says the DAX looks like it's firming up a little bit with some tails on those bars. All right, here we've got, well, technically it's not a first micro-macro cross because our filter did not go out of sync, but it's still a pretty tempting signal. 1, 2, 3. Well, we don't quite have a 4-arrow consolidation there either. What we're looking for is the breakdown of these lows. If the market punches through these lows, there could be some follow through here. A possible Raptor signal developing. Yeah, sure, why not? I'll show you the Raptor signal. I'm already short the Eagle, so I probably would not get too crazy adding more to my position. But hey, it's one of the luxuries of being a trade room moderator. one of the few luxuries of being a trade room moderator. The tough part for this one is going to be covering this bad boy. Where's the chandelier at? Way over there. That might be the way to go. Ideally, I want to keep my stops back here, somewhere near the hard edge, because if this breakout doesn't follow through to the downside. Guess where they're going? That's right. They're going to head right up there. Oh, nicely done, Jim. Bagging 8 ticks on crude oil with 6 contracts. Well done. Okay, I'm going to let this one simmer just for a moment. Oh, no, you know what? Sorry. My signal has disappeared. I was going to leave the signal in play there. I'll wait for another signal to print before I commit to that. It's still early though. We're only about 10 or 11 minutes into the session. Printing a few more yellow bars here on the hawk. Don't want to see that. And I'm doing my best to be patient with this market. I'm trying really, really hard. All right, this is going to be the last chance now on for the sellers. We need to see them take out this low, and then I'm going to get more aggressive with my stop. I'll probably, yeah, I'll go with at least with the ATR. Oh, come on. 45.05 quarter. I can't believe nobody is taking 45.05. Come on. Oh, what a crazy start to the day. Ooh, sellers trying hard to push the market down here. We opened somewhere here around this 45.14, or sorry, the high of the morning, somewhere around this 45.14 out of this little rally. Okay, sellers, last chance. So if the sellers can win this bar, this current bar, and print down here at 45.05 quarter, I'm going to roll my stop in above the high of this bar. Because this is going to show me that the sellers are stepping in, right? They're pressing the trade, they're pushing hard. All right, I'm going to take my stops. There we go. Come on now. Come on. Oh my goodness, they dipped their toe in the water. Somebody follow through on that. We'll go with the parabolic. And the buyers are definitely strong down here. Look at how they're really fighting that whole 4505 area. Somebody's going to give up here soon. If the market trades through that 4511 quarter where my stop is, we'll probably see a rally. And if the buyers don't get out of the way soon, I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. Oh, the sellers just gave him a good push there. What's it going to take for the buyers to bail? Yeah, Jim says he was short the YM but ditched because the buyers are too tough. They're dug in. Okay, well, there we go. All right, now we're starting to flush some of the buyers out. I was going to say we'll see 4,500. There we go. And now we'll send the rest of them scurrying. Hooray for us. Hooray for us. So we've hit our high probability target. Now we're getting a little bit of a reaction, which tends to be the case. Oh, we did get another hawk signal here. We had the green bar sell and a first micro macro cross. Now you're looking at this and you're saying, well, Eric, that micro line did not cross the macro line. But remember what the first micro macro cross shows you. It shows you a market that is out of sync, and then it comes back into sync. So here the market is a jumbled mess. This usually occurs when the market is changing direction, hence the first micro-macro cross. It usually occurs when the market goes from uptrend to downtrend or vice versa, and everything comes into sync. Well, this is the same thing, even though technically the lines did not cross. Our bars are out of sync, our trend lines are out of sync, and our filter is out of sync. And now everything comes back into sync. So this is a first micro-macro cross signal. And we had a very quick trend change signal here on the Falcon. Here's the proper trend change signal. Let's see, we probably had a Raptor trade also. And we did too. Nice little hard edge bounce here on the Raptor. And we were watching this earlier, this scenario unfold. Remember, we were looking to short right here. The market retreated a little bit, came back, produced a signal. Boom! Down she goes for the count. Well, maybe not for the count. It's still early. Oh, look at the Geiger counter here before we leave the Raptor. Look at all that selling, where we saw the market keep fighting that whole 4505 area. That was all through here. Sellers just ganging up, and then the buyers having to exit with their exit orders, which would be sell stops. Pretty cool, huh? I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys in the room the other day, that I'm doing a presentation for Top Step Trader tomorrow. Oh, sorry. I gotta get this on the right screen. There we go. And hold on a second. I will get you the link in case you're interested in attending. A lot of the stuff is what we talk about when we're in the room here anyhow. Okay, I think I did that right. The subject is going to be 3 things you can do to improve your trading. And not one of them has to do with signal generation. Going to be talking about things like over trading, going to be talking about things like money management, which we talk about all the time here, and market mix, something that people don't pay a whole lot of attention to. So that's going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Like Jim says, don't trade. All right, so a big reaction now, which is to be anticipated. Getting a macro pullback signal here. We may get enough out of this to find a profit target down here. It's not as warm and fuzzy as I would like because there's very little structure here, right? If I set up the trade, well, there they go. But how do I set up this trade? If I cover it here, I feel like it's just going to be too tight. Let's see if they give it to me. Ideally, I'd like to cover maybe back here to the crest and the macro line. They do owe us a retest of the low before we see a reversal. Oh, actually, we got another macro pullback signal here. Now, the nice thing about this macro pullback signal is I can actually offer up a couple of ticks, take it below that little swing low. That does enable me to perhaps run the stop a little bit tighter. The downside with delaying the entry, however, is we really need to see a serious retest of the low. So it looks like I've given up 3 ticks. And we can adjust that entry. Still a macro pullback. Still looking to, it's almost got that bear flag shape to it now. I'm still delaying my entry, however, by about 3 ticks from where the hash mark is going to print. I'm not interested in entering until we can break this trend line. And this may well develop into a 4-arrow consolidation as well. I'm hoping if the signal spoils, we get into yellow bars here sooner rather than later. Okay, so there's the signal, macro pullback signal. All right, the signal prints, and let's see if they give it to us now. If we're going to get that retest of the low, we have a 3-arrow consolidation. May come back here with yet a 4-arrow. Come on. Come on. Don't be like that. So all I'm trying to do at this point is stay out of the way. Crude oil here also on the hawk. Just made a higher low. That could be our test of the extreme. We could look for a possible buy signal. Still got a ways to go. Okay, here comes our 4-arrow consolidation now. Oh, would have been nice to short up there, would have got a better fill. All right, give me a couple of bars here, and then we can start doing something with our stops. So the 4-arrow consolidation, 1, 2, 3, fourth signal, we anticipate the market's going to have some follow through off of that fourth signal. Oh, hasn't printed yet. By the way, the 4-arrow consolidation is the only hawk signal I will take on a yellow bar. So even though these bars are yellow, I would still entertain shorting. There we go. So you could be short from around 44.92, which is a better price than the one I sold. Come on, just give me one more swing, pretty please. Yeah, maybe. Jim says the oil seems to be the leader. We'll see. We'll see what kind of follow through. Right now, oil very stagnant. Nuts to me. All right, let's see if we get that green bar sell. I'm trying so hard to be patient with this market, but I'm thinking I should jam my stop down here and just take the early tap out. See, what's happened is the market has been rallying, as we saw on the daily chart. Yesterday, or for the last few days, we've been going sideways, right? We've encountered that daily trend line. The market started chopping back and forth, back and forth. So one of these kinds of things. And today, we finally saw it break down. That was this move here, by the way. Kind of broke out of that trading range. Well, now what happens when you break out of a trading range? The market's going to try to retest, isn't it? It's going to try to get back into that trading range. This is the dilemma that we're facing at the moment. Is this market going to hold the breakout, in which case we'll see the market continue lower, or is it going to try to get back into this trading range and essentially just enlarge the trading range somewhat? That's the issue I'm facing here at the moment. And of course, my stops, like I said, I'd be much more comfortable with my stops up here. In fact, I may end up moving them a little bit. However, we do need to see the sellers try to recover this market soon. Yeah, Jim says the advanced decline kind of favoring the buyers a little bit. We've gone from around our 800 open to about 1,000 or just over 1,000 on the buy and about 1,650 on the sell. So we do have buyers trying to support the NASDAQ. Pretty cool how I sold the low there, isn't it? I hate it when that happens. All right, the market getting a little bit more bullish now. All right, I'm going to take it up here to the crest where I said. I'm sure I could still afford a single contract. So there are sellers selling here. Oh, we just got a trend change signal there in the Falcon and also a soft edge buy signal here on the Raptor. So with this soft edge buy, we would anticipate a move back to the hard edge, which is where my stop was, which is why I put my stop a little bit further away. Okay, actually going to produce a first micro-macro cross buy signal here on the Hawk. Obviously, I'm not going to take it because I'm currently short, looking for an opportunity to try to nurse this trade back to a profit or maybe even just a break even. I think 45.04 is pretty much a given. All right, well, that's not what I was looking for. Crude oil still very convoluted. Still very sideways, but we are producing a first micro-macro cross signal on crude. Could I cover it below that swing? Oh, look at that, I can. Pardon me. And with this one, you know what? I'm going to swing for the fences on this one. All right, we'll put that one away. We've hit this 45.04 area, I see. Right where we thought they would go. So nice little first micro macro cross, hit the profit target. Okay, enough of that. Let's go the other way. We're into the hard edge. Chip says the Russell's pretty strong. He's afraid that the Russell's going to pull the market higher. I'm thinking we have maybe changed our bias on the day. I was thinking it was going to be a bearish day, but now I'm not so sure. That's a pretty substantial retracement on the part of the buyers, all the way into that hard edge. It kind of neutralizes this earlier move. So here's the high of the morning. This is where we started our day. Big move lower, and then the buyers came back and took it all back. So unless we see the sellers step in here, and soon, we could be sweating our trade for a while. Oh, I know why crude oil is so sideways this morning. I'm actually going to cancel the crude oil trade, folks. If you were following this, I'm going to cancel this because today is crude inventory. Holiday weekend, or because of the holiday Monday, I should say. Crude report is out at 11 Eastern today. That's why crude oil is so stuck. See if the Raptor produces a signal here off of the hard edge. It might be okay for a little bit of a scalp type thing, given that we're not 100% sure which way the wind is blowing. Thanks, Jim. Jim says the advanced decline. We got 1150 on the buy now and 1500 on the sell. So as far as those of you who are watching or interested in the advanced decline numbers, the market is getting a little bit stronger. And the crude oil hawk now into yellow bars, so that kind of nixed any buying attempt anyhow. Ooh, not liking that. 45.09, the high of this swing. Oh, I could cover that. All right, we may have to adjust our stops again. Well, we had a little action to start with, and now the market is very quiet again. I'm just going to check my reports to see if we're waiting on anything. Natural gas coming out in about 15 minutes time, then crude oil in about 45 minutes, and that's it. I don't see anything too terribly important for Friday either. Oh, here they come. Let's see if the sellers can hold this 45.05 area. Gee, is that a familiar number? That's the one that they were beat up at this morning. Oh, no, don't you dare. Okay. You didn't see me just move my stop. No! Wow, that might not be far enough yet. Ay, 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 ay. What happened to all the sellers? Jeepers, they showed up en masse, and now everybody runs away. We're sitting here on the primary support line. Which was very influential only about 20-30 minutes ago. Oh man, the buyers are done. Or pardon me, the sellers. The sellers are done. See this little mountain of buying that went through there? That was that last little rally that we saw. All right. The sellers are gonna make a stand here, it looks like. All right, so if we can at least see a little bit of a move here, I'm gonna force myself to probably roll my stops a bit. Oh, Jim's trying to give me a glimmer of hope here. He says the transports are looking weaker along with the Russell, but they're not playing nice. They're gonna hit this whole resistance area on the highs right here. That's where I have my stops. That's what they're going for, right there. I was hoping this would hold them down. Well, I guess once the 4-arrow consolidation failed, I should have ditched. It's a higher probability signal. It obviously did not work. I should have taken my stop out right down there. But now, as they say, in for a dollar, in for a pound, I'm stuck looking for the sellers to come back into this market. Working on a possible green bar sell here on the hard edge. The market's just been very quiet. You know, it makes a move and then it stalls. Makes a move, then it stalls. Crude oil still dead sideways, and it's probably going to remain that way until the crude inventory report. And it looks to be that's what we're going to have for this morning's session. Come on, sellers. Oh, dear. Yeah, I think you're right, Jim. Jim says, looks like the market's waiting for it for the crude inventory. I think you might be right. Yeah, Rod, I agree with you 100%. Rod says this is in hindsight, but it looks like it would be a good idea to close your position when a higher probability signal prints. So what Rod is saying is when this first micro-macro cross signal printed, might have been a good time to take the stop out. The only good thing is that even up at this level, I know it's still an amount I can afford. It's not, it's not a pleasant stop out. Obviously, this would be about half as much. In hindsight, once this 4-arrow consolidation failed, when there was no follow through on this, I should have brought my stops in down here. But I didn't, and so now I'm struggling. The sellers will come back one more time. I'm reasonably sure of that. This whole 4505 area where we find ourselves once again, we know it was very influential. Sellers stepped up in a big way at 4505, pushed the market all the way down here. Buyers have brought the market back, so the buyers are prepared to dig in around this 44.90 area. Sellers around the 45.05-ish mark. If we could just get a couple of bars going in our direction. Then I could probably do something with it. But I don't, well, they're not playing nice. No, they're just going to keep pressing. They're going to tag me here in a second. So after all that, I get stopped out anyhow. Now watch them turn around. So we go from being a bearish market to a bullish market just like that. All right, well, until we see a macro pullback or perhaps a green bar sell or perhaps a hard edge bounce, there's really not much to follow. Yeah, there's just nothing going on. Yeah, you could be right, Jim. Jim says it feels to him like the market is building up for a breakout. I'm just snooping around here a little bit looking for anything that's going on, but nothing really to get too excited about here at the moment. If things don't shape up here soon, I think we may just end up closing up the room a little bit early. Yeah, they're just kind of stuck. And watch, now that I got stopped out and we're back to the median line, watch the market head lower. All right, finally getting a macro pullback. Boy, what a day. I think we're going to close up the room. There's not a whole lot going on here, and quite honestly, I don't think we're going to see too much until the crude inventory comes out. It does seem as though the market is waiting on that crude inventory report. If you are going to continue trading today, well, the market does owe us another move lower. There's no question about that. But it has also become a lot more bullish. So, I would love to see a test of the extreme. That would make for a more reasonable short if we saw here on the hawk now off this macro pullback, a little rally and a failure. That would be time to go short. But until we get a failure, it's going to be tough slogging. Yeah, that would be ideal. If we saw one of those, that would make for an easy sell. And that also makes me a little apprehensive on the buy right now, because we may see that failure. All right, you guys, be careful. I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Hopefully the market will be a little bit more cooperative, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.